Alright guys, welcome to another video. Today, the tutorial is going to actually be on city popping. Not going to lie, I feel a little dirty even doing this, just because it's very annoying when people do it to you, and you get the maximum benefit doing this when you've already clearly lost the field, and you're just doing it to kind of rack up some kills and be annoying, right? But if you're going to do it, might as well do it right, so we're going to cover this today. So, a couple things before we start. First, normally, if you guys watch any of the videos I put out talking about fighting, I prefer dot mode, but when you're doing city popping, you want to actually be zoomed in enough where you can see the enemy's portrait. One, you can see which march you're targeting, so we have a bunch of marches here, right? I will want to target that ZL, right? It's probably a Herman behind it. If not, it's still squishier. This Luce with yellow health is also a good target. And then for you want to make sure you pick the right march. Right, Scipio Luce, in my opinion, is the best march to do this with, just because they both have instant proc, so you could pop out, literally proc an instant proc, pop back into your city, you could trade really well. I've never used Pakal Herald before. I assume it's still really good, right? There's probably other marches out there. Really, any march, meta march, where you have really good gear, it will probably do pretty well. But if you given the option, I would recommend Scipio Luce. The other reason why you want to zoom in is because somehow when you click back onto your city, it just seems more reliable to pop back into the city when you do it. Whereas like if you zoom out into dot mode, right, and the city looks kind of like a little castle, what I find is sometimes when I try to click back in, the march doesn't go back in, and then I lose half my health, or I just get melted because it didn't go in, right? It is a little bit more challenging, so pretend I'm in this city right now and you have a bunch of enemy marches surrounding you. You have to be a little bit more deliberate where you click, and I think the ideal place to click is right about here, like a little bit up from the bottom near the center and the base, just because sometimes the enemy marches will actually cover where you're clicking, and if you end up accidentally clicking them, then you want to actually go into your march. Okay, so let's actually run this for a bit so you can see it. So from here, right here, you see how the screen pops up, right? So right now I'm actually in this city, and when I select my Scipio Luce, right, I press F1, this screen's gonna pop up. If you press F1 again, it will actually disappear. It took me a while to figure that out, kind of embarrassed to say, but now you guys know, so you won't have to make that mistake. So when you press F1 again, right, now I'm actually gonna pop into the city in the front line. So ideally you're on the city in the front line. When you're in there, now you can hit all of these. Okay, now this one, you'll see some of them I seem to get into a good position, some of them I don't. The ones where I'm in a good position is because I'm clicking on a march that's further away. So one way that you can counter people that are doing city popping is to move your march right up onto the city, because if you move your march right up on the city, then when I pop out, I'm actually going to come out on the other side, and it's going to take like, oh, not quite a second, but definitely noticeably longer to march back, and then it's easier for you to surround that target as it's marching back, and that's actually one way to counter city popping. So right here you can see, I don't know why it took me a while to actually pop out, right? But if I click on this march here, you see how when I pop out, right? So I clicked on, I think this is a Boudica. Actually, no, I was a Scipio. Let me let it run a little bit. Right, you see how my march is between me and the Boudica, right? So if I hit it, I'll get one or two hits in, and then I'm actually gonna click on my city. I'm not gonna wait for my screen to flicker red, because when there's this many enemies around, by the time I react after I get surrounded, I'm gonna take a lot more damage, right? So right here, click the city, pop back in, right? Right here, this one was not a good click, right? You can see how I clicked this one that was right up on my city, and then my Scipio actually popped out way further, right? So when I clicked this one up here, my Scipio was in this position. When I clicked this march that was right next to the city here, it actually popped me out. And then when I wanted to march back, you see how it takes a little bit longer to actually go back, right? So, you know, did it again, popped out all the way to the other side between a bunch of people, took a bunch of hits, and then it just takes, you know, like a split second longer to march back, and you just take a lot more damage, right? So one more time, that's a good click, right? So you can tell that one is further away, so now my Scipio is actually between the enemy and the city, so it's very easy for me to retreat back into the city and then pop back in. All right, so that one was not a good click, that one was close, so then when I clicked it, I popped out to the bottom right. You see how far I'm away from here, and to march back, I'm gonna have to take one or two more hits I didn't have to. right? And I think there, usually I'll probably go a little further. I think a good rule of thumb is to start marching back by the time you get close to half health. Now the reason for that, especially when it's city popping, is because the more troops you have, the more damage you're going to be able to do, right? Because the active skill is based off of how many troops you have. It's like a damage factor of that. So that's why when you're city popping, yes, you want to target weaker marches, but let's just say it's like a Scipio Luchet and it's at half health and you're at full health. Well, you're literally going to be able to do twice the damage as that troop from a damage factor standpoint, just because you have twice the amount of troops. So that's why you don't want to let your march get definitely below half when you're city popping. And once it does, you know, you can just hop from city to city and go back. It's like a very safe and easy way to rack up some cheap kills, annoy the enemy. Again, don't use this as your primary strategy for getting kills. I mean, you don't get kills that much anyways. If anything, it's just like an annoying thing that you can do when you're getting completely dominated, where you can actually still trade pretty well and rack up some kills. So hopefully you guys got some value from this. If you did, please like and subscribe to the video. And I'll make another one and talk to you guys next time.